The abyss within us is very real, and facing this is the moment of truth for many people. Hello. Today in my storytelling playlist, I'm going to talk about the ones who leap into the dark and what they find. If you watched the last video, you know that I was recently inside a hermetic phase. I think I'm coming out of that right now, thankfully. I mean, I gain a lot from these phases, but they're kind of difficult. This is kind of a companion video to that one, but I'm going to talk about darkness and also light in a metaphysical sense. I'm also going to discuss polarities and fear, and I'm going to tell a few anecdotes, stories about these things. Before we get into that, 87% of my total views comes from people who are not subscribed. That is quite high. So if you haven't and you like my videos, it would really help me if you do it. Either now or later, but that number is super high. I want to try to get that a little bit lower. With that out of the way, let's get started. Light in the darkness. Whenever you go into a hermitage, you have to face yourself. And maybe that's the hardest thing to do. You have to face all the things you push aside, all the things you push down that you don't want to deal with. You have to face your fears, apprehensions. You have to face deaths of different kinds, death of relationships, death of phases or personalities you've had, facing the self. It could be actual death of a loved one or friend. It could be anything really, but whatever it is, it forces you to look at yourself, to confront the darkness within. And I think people like to think they don't have it, but we all have it. It's uncomfortable. It's hard to do this. I think we all vary in our representation of this darkness, depending on different factors. I'm an incredibly dark person. I have no idea where it came from. I have no idea why I have it. I'm not even sure what to do with it. It comes out mostly in my self-expression, like my art or my writing. In daily life, I try to bury it. But I think darkness is a kind of emptiness. Unfortunately, that's the only word I can think of to represent it, but it's not exactly that. Inside this emptiness of darkness, there is a light, or the potential for a light. The mystic Manly P. Hall talks about the great mystics of the world in his book, The Initiates of the Flame. I'll put many on the screen here, but there are many, many more. These are probably the most famous or the most enduring, but he calls them the sons of flame. From the flame they came, and to the flame they have returned. From this light we come, and to this light we will return. It's a lot like lighting a match. If you are in total darkness, the match will only last a brief time. Maybe it will flicker. Either you keep lighting more matches from that single match, or you have to use the match to create a more powerful light source, something that is more sustained. And it's so easy to lose the light, one step forward, two steps back, as they say. It really is quite difficult to maintain it. A wind, the match burns itself down, you drop it. There are all these ways for it to go out. That's why it's so important to sustain it, to cultivate it, to make it grow. You have to return to it time and time again. You have to add fuel to the fire, so to speak. It's the symbol of the lamp with the hermit. It's the philosopher's stone. It's the most precious thing in life. The flame can be a tiny dot in the darkness. That tiny dot holds the same weight as all of the darkness around it. It is trying to engulf it, to snuff it out. I believe both things have a consciousness. Hermetic polarities. It's a paradox, really, a contradiction. Once you taste the dark and the light that is inside it, it almost becomes an addiction of sorts. Because the light is there. It's kind of hiding or it's elusive. It makes you want to keep looking in the dark. But this is about sublimating opposites. Without contraries is no progression. That's from William Blake's The Marriage of Heaven and Hell. When I read this book for the first time, it blew my mind. I mean, it really shattered me. I was in a moment of this darkness. It was really the first time I had faced it. And the contraries in his writing almost broke me. It's hard to explain. It was almost like a line in the sand where I was like, either I'm going to die here or I need to figure this out. I read it again. I kept trying to tear apart the contradictions. I focused on certain passages. I tried to unravel them. I was so lost at that time. In fact, looking back on it, It's just amazing I'm where I am now compared to where I was then. I was definitely searching for a thread out of the maze. But it was a strange experience because he had written it 200 years before it found its way to me. And it totally found its way to me at the right time as well. When I was inside of it, and I say inside of it, I think that's more accurate than reading it, it was like it was speaking directly to me, kind of nudging me forward. It's like I could almost feel him writing it. His own struggles, his own clarity developing in the dark. It's like his journey became the light that helped guide me out of mine. And then the work just clicked. I believe I understood it then. In time, I would see this quality in other works, alchemical texts, Swedenborg, St. John of the Cross, many, many others. This isn't something you can necessarily explain to another person. I know I'm trying to do that in this video, but I'm really just trying to point in that direction. When he wrote it, he wasn't explaining it. He wasn't trying to give me an answer. It's just impossible to relate to another person. It's the grand mystery of the world. St. John of the Cross and the Dark Night of the Soul describes it this way: having nothing and possessing all things. It's the greatest secret. It's stated in the Kybalion. Everything is dual. Everything has poles. Everything has its pair of opposites. Like and unlike are the same. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. Extremes meet. All truths are but half-truths. All paradoxes may be reconciled. The light is darkness and the darkness is light. That is the lesson. A dark man. During that time, and even before that time, I knew a man. He was someone that went deep into this metaphysical darkness. Those that had not done that inner work feared him immensely, I'd say. Around this time, I was reading Blake and I was conversing with him. He was almost a guide, but like Blake, he didn't really show me. He was just there. The reactions that people would have of him, that's how this is. The darkness is a tangible thing. It's almost like riding an animal. You have the stink of the animal on you long after you've ridden. It carries with you. People sense it. They can't always put their finger on it, but they see it in your eyes. They feel it in your presence. They see that you've flirted with the edge, that you've tried to face yourself. We all have times of depression, falling into nihilism, teetering on the edge of an abyss. I'm not saying that to be dramatic, but that's how it is. The abyss within us is very real, and facing this is the moment of truth for many people. In fact, it might be the most important decision in your life, how you react to this. Some stay as far from the edge as possible, a kind of denial that it exists. Some creep up to it, look, but then flee. Others peer over the edge, but can't make that ultimate decision. It's like deciding to plunge into a cold swimming pool. A rare few look and then leap. But do those rare few actually fall? The man that I knew was probably the most fearless person I've ever known. It's like this. If you free fall with fear, the guardians there will devour you. You will crack, you will fall into mental illness or something. At worst, you will lose your mind completely. A very, very rare few find the light in there. It's like a beacon guiding you past the guardians. It's like a little glimmer of hope there. A lighthouse, Ariadne's thread. Tiny at first, but like I said, it can grow. And the more that you get accustomed to the dark, the less that you fear, and the more the light grows. It's almost like fearlessness is the fuel for the light. Like I said, the man that I know is probably the most fearless, but his eyes were also the brightest of anyone that I've known. Take that correlation any way you will. Jungle temples and oriental darkness. So far I've been talking about the darkness within, but I saw a lot of external darkness when I was traveling through East Asia and Southeast Asia. And I suspect it's in many places. It's a different kind of darkness though. America, what we think of as America, isn't that old. Places like Angkor Wat are so old that they feel alien. They hold a power that can only be felt. It's not in the pictures, it's not in the brochures, it's not in a tour guide telling you it. I did a lot of traveling alone during that time, and there were certainly moments where I thought this kind of alien darkness would overpower me. It felt different than the internal darkness. And maybe that was one of the first times that I truly saw the demiurge. This feeling is truly alien. And I don't mean extraterrestrial in UFO kind of way. This darkness is like the black goo in films and stuff. This is like the darkness that can infect you. You know, seeing these places, it brought up these visuals in my mind about the horrors that probably took place there and how barbaric that time probably was, the brutality of it all. It's hard for us to imagine, but I definitely felt it. There were other times when I was traveling around Cambodia or Vietnam or the Philippines or someplace, I'd see a strange alley or a woman in a doorway or some shady guy somewhere, and I could feel it coming from them. The problem with that external darkness is it doesn't have any light inside. It's been banished. It's vacant, it's hollow, it's corrupted in some way I can't readily define. I just knew it when I saw it. When I was in Cambodia, I went to the killing fields, definitely felt it there. It had its own kind of dark weight, but it wasn't just the fields, it was also like the advertisements for shooting a cow with an RPG or many of the other things that were being offered as these kind of garden of delights, of dark delights. You know, a random guy trying to sell me drugs. You know, he'd have 3 women sitting on the back of his motorbike. He's trying to sell them as well. That's what felt the darkest to me. Wasn't even the places, it was the people that were like this. It's almost like the darkness in Angkor Wat or someplace infected these people drop by drop, a little here, a little there. Returning to America, I've realized that Americans will do anything to push this darkness aside. In Asia, it felt like it was up front and in your face a bit. I would imagine other places are like that too. I felt it a bit in Mexico as well. Here, it's kind of put behind closed doors or buried deep, and it kind of wells up. In some cases, it's translated into fat or excess. I kind of see it in processed food, ultra-processed food. The amount of sugar that's in everything, all that to me just seems really part of this. It's still here, you know, in the past or in the past of the natives, but it's almost like the people that have come here since, from every different country that have come here, have decided to leave that behind or try to. And it's one of those things, it's just there. You can't pretend that it's not there. Using the light. The older I get and the more I get into this paradox, the more it becomes a goal on how to use this light and to make it grow. Like I said before, it almost becomes a kind of addiction. You're sort of teetering on the brink of something. Once you see it, you want to see it again. You want it to become a bigger part of your life, especially when on the outside, you see all of these things trying to squash it completely. It's like you want it to be as bright as possible so you can banish all of the things that are the weak parts of the world. You want to keep returning to the well to get stronger. And then there are times when you think about those that never even got to the edge, that just turned around when the idea was presented to them. What have they missed out on? What have they squandered? Is that the only opportunity that it will happen for them? Did they just waste it? I mean, have we truly lived life if we haven't at least seen this light, if not tried to understand it in some way? And then there's this. Are they more easily corrupted by the darkness outside of them because they haven't sublimated the darkness inside? It's no coincidence that a scrying mirror is obsidian glass. You have to peer into it. It empties you out. You become a shell of sorts, waiting for the light to fill you. I made this collage recently trying to articulate this feeling because it's hard to do in words. I'm not even sure if I captured it correctly, but I tried, and it's how I feel. Joseph Campbell said, "The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek." He talks about how the ordeal is the supreme crisis. The hero has to die to be reborn. The boon is the ultimate reward of the quest. The descent into the unknown, the cave, the whale, the abyss, the underworld. It's a confrontation with fear, death, shadow, an existential crisis. If you're lucky, you return with the boon, which is knowledge, power, transformation, treasure, fruit, the stone, the light, the lamp. It has many names, but it's all the one thing. It's a functional tension, a pair of opposites that only work together. They only make sense that way. They are points on a spectrum. Darkness gives a kind of depth. Light gives clarity to that depth. Awareness comes from the contrast. If you have anything to say, any time that you've gone through this, or any insight you've gained from this, you can put that below. But that's all I got for this one. Take care. Have a good day.